What is up, my friends? I'm Toby Wayne. This is Toby Wayne Studios, and welcome to another episode of Toby Talks. This, by far, is probably going to be the most embarrassing video slash story that I have for Toby Talks. Of course, the future hasn't been completely written yet, so we'll see. But this one is a doozy. I'm taking a break from my work tonight to tell this story. Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. But it's pretty funny, and I love to tell this story to my close family and friends. Of course, they get a chuckle out of it. So yeah, I figured I would share it with you all because you know, it can't get any worse than this, I suppose, at this point. Anyway, this episode is called The Video Store Incident. And it takes us back. Let's go back in time, my friends, to the summer of 1997. And I had my own little studio apartment. Life was good. I just started in the dental business, I think in May of that year. And so I'd been a few months in. I'd been making, you know, decent money, way more money than I had been ever making at that time. So I thought I would treat myself to just, you know, just extra movies. And I decided I was going to go out and get a movie for the night. It was a Friday night. And anyway, I was living in Sutherland, Oregon, and it was about 9:30. And I knew that the video store closed at 10. So I had to hustle. 10 or 10:30. So anyway, I hop in my car and I take off. And I get to the video store and I head straight for the horror movies. If any of you guys know me, I don't waste time with comedies and romance and action and adventure and all that stuff. I just go straight for the horror movies because that's all that matters to me. And so and the place is packed. It is a packed video store. Back in the day of 97, of course, on a Friday night, it was hopping. And so anyway, I go into this video store. It's packed. I'm feeling good. I'm looking for a great horror movie or two, and I'm at the horror video section, and I'm looking at my movies, and I take forever to pick a movie. God bless my wife for putting up with me today, because it's the same way on Netflix. I take forever to find a movie. If it's Amazon Prime streaming, it takes forever. So video stores, of course, were no different, and it would take me forever to pick a movie. With that being said, I'm under a time limit and I'm hustling. So anyway, I go and I'm looking at these horror movies. And as I'm looking at these horror movies, everything's going fine. I've got it narrowed down to about 3 or 4 movies. And all of a sudden, I had the worst gas cramp ever. Like, I could just feel it in my stomach. It just went, and I was like, oh, that's no good. And so I was... I fought it. I was doing good, and I thought, yeah, that was no fun. Didn't pass it, of course, because I'm a gentleman that way. So I held it, and so I'm minding my own business. And a couple minutes later, I feel it again. And man, this is hitting me hard, and I'm just like, holy cows, like this sucks. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, well, worst case scenario, the place is packed. You know, I could just blame it on one of the little kids. You know, what are they? But I'm a gentleman, and so I fought it, and I didn't do what I should have done. So I was like, well, you know, that was pretty gnarly. So I better hurry up. So I grab my movies. I get up to the counter. I pay for them. And I kind of start feeling that rumbling again. And I'm thinking to myself, I look over, you know, off to the side, and I see they have restrooms. And I've used those restrooms before, and I thought to myself, I should probably use those now before I get home. Now, I'm about 4 miles away from home. Okay, so anyway, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that to this store, because I have to come back eventually. And it's not going to be, they'll know who it was, you know. So anyway, I pay for my videos, and I go and get in my car, start it, take off down the road, and that was when I realized I'd made a grave mistake. And I thought, this is we're in the danger zone now. And I got maybe, I don't know, a quarter of the way, and it hits again. And it's one of those things where it's like 20 miles an hour through the town. And I'm pushing it a little further. I'm going about 30 at this point, because I'm like, I can't, I can't get going. Now, I knew at the halfway point the church that I had attended, I had a key to the church, and I thought to myself, I could stop at the halfway point if things get really bad. But I was like, well, my luck, there would be some sort of, conference going on, or women's retreat, or somebody would be there, and I'm like, and even God would be like, geez, Toby, what did you eat? And I'm like, I'll just keep going. I'll fight through it. So I drove past the church, and I, of course, regretted it as I'm driving along. I literally get 3/4 of the way home, and I've picked up my pace a little bit, but at this point, I'm sweating, and I'm like literally up off my chair, off my seat, and I'm clenching, and I'm fighting, and I'm thinking, man, that was a bad idea. I should have just stopped. I should have just went at the video store, but like a fool, like with my pride, I didn't do what was right. So anyway, I'm in the final stretch. I got to go up my street, and I'm by this point, it's not good. Things are not looking good. And I honestly, the roads, it was like a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit up this road, but I knew that the chances of a cop being there would be slim and none. So I put the pedal to the metal, and not an exaggeration, I was going, I mean, I had to be going, 50 miles an hour, easy, 50, 55, because it was a straight stretch right up the hill, and I knew that my little studio apartment was in sight. If I could just get there, I would be okay. But needless to say, I was hustling tail, and I ripped into the driveway, and I almost wiped out my landlord's truck because there was gravel, and my little studio apartment was actually in a converted garage that this elderly couple had put up for rent, and so I had got this cool little studio apartment, which was the bee's knees. But anyway, I come ripping into this driveway, and I mean, I'm like fighting for everything that I'm worth, and I I rip into the driveway, about wipe out the truck. Like, I mean, it slid, and I remember like jumping out of the car and getting to the gate. I had a cyclone gate that I had to get through. So I knew I had to get through a cyclone gate, down the long, dark walkway, around the corner, and get my key into the thing, and get into my apartment, and get in and go. And I got to that gate, and something real dawned on me. I realized, wow, like, I'm an adult, and I'm gonna crap my pants. Like, I'm like, this is it. It's over. I can't fight the good fight any further. And I remember hitting that gate, and now this is the part that I'm probably not really proud of, is the fact that I was wearing sweatpants. And please don't judge me on that, because back in '97, I think it was acceptable to wear sweats. But luckily for me, I was wearing sweatpants. And if there's children in the room, this is the part where you escort them out. But I remember hitting that fence thinking it's over. And I remember two things about that moment in time. I remember I'm hanging onto the fence in a perfect L position. Like I'm hanging onto the fence. Literally pulling back, hanging onto the fence. And I remember two things. Wow, that breeze feels fantastic, because I was sweating like crazy. And I remember two, man, I sure hope a car doesn't come up that street, because I'm going to be exposed in the light of these car headlights, and it's going to be a whole different type of full moon. So anyway, it was not my greatest moment, and thank God it was late, and thank God there was no other cars, and thank God for that cyclone fence, because man, that thing had some power to it and some give, but I could move a little bit, and the breeze, it was amazing. But anyway, I finished, and I remember like limping down the walkway. And I thought to myself, well, okay. And so I got inside, and I got, everything squared away. And so anyway, this is where the best part comes in. So the next day comes, it's a Saturday, and my phone rings, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I answer it, and I'm like, hello. And it's my cousin Jared. And he says, hey, cousin, do you mind if I come over and hang out? And I said, yeah, sure. That'd be great, man. Just come on over, we'll get a pizza, we'll play some video games. I rented some movies, some horror movies. We can watch some horror movies. And so he's like, cool, I'll be over in about 20 minutes, because I think he rode his bike over. Next thing I know, there's a knock at the door. I open it up. It's my cousin Jared. Hey, Jared, what's happening? What's going on, man? And, he comes in, and he's like, oh, yeah, everything's good to be here. And then he says to me, he looks at me dead-faced, and he says, did you see the size of the pile of dog crap out by your gate. And I like panicked for a second because I realized, oh, and I remember spouting out something about, oh yeah, I think there was like a German Shepherd running around and I wasn't sure. Yeah. So anyway, I covered it up. I covered it up for all these years. Little did Jared know that I was actually that German Shepherd. So the dog's out of the bag. I was the one, Jared, that left that big boom boom right outside the front gate. But anyway, that was my most embarrassing moment. So Jared, if you remember that story, that's awesome. If not, I've told everybody but you because I was embarrassed. But yeah, so anyway, that is probably hands down my most embarrassing moment was the video store incident. I hope people don't judge me too badly because I'm sure that we've all been there a time or 200. But yeah, that's probably hands down my most embarrassing moment up to this point that I can remember. I'm an embarrassing kind of guy. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Toby Talks. It was a tough one for me to walk through because it brings back funny yet terrifying memories and embarrassing memories. So anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you for all the new subscribers to the channel. I appreciate it. I'm sure after this story, some of those numbers will drop. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. You guys are awesome. And I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up because I've got plenty of other stories. Hopefully not as embarrassing as that one. But anyway, you guys are awesome. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. And I will catch you in the very next video.